So um, as people come in, just let me know how the live stream is doing, if it's doing okay, etc. Um, yeah, I just figured I would just kind of chat and chill for a little bit, and also just to kind of spread the hype. Well, I mean, I do plan on doing a WrestleMania prediction live stream later today, tonight. So we'll see what happens with that. Um, if not, for sure tomorrow will be WrestleMania Day One live stream. But um, yesterday's live we talked about like the leak of the note, kind of like I don't even know what's up with that bird. He's literally freaking out right now. Anyways, yeah, so I wasn't live too long yesterday, but I was able to share the alleged ransom note for the cyber attackers and stuff like that. And I really just kind of wanted to gather people's opinions about it. Now knowing if in fact all this stuff correlated the way that it was stated from that person that posted on Reddit, the fact that Dish had to rebuild out all their entire systems from ground up. So it wasn't like that they paid the ransom and got access to their system. They had to literally rebuild it from ground up while keeping everybody's line active. Um, I couldn't even fathom just how hard that would be to do. I'm not saying that it's easy to do that or any of that. I'm just saying that I couldn't fathom having to, like, I couldn't just imagine going to work and finding out that the company I worked for was involved in a cyber attack that took down the entire system that you know we needed. Like, I needed to start working 16-hour shifts, 20-hour shifts, round the clock work, just to rebuild an entire system and get it back up and running, so then that way it wouldn't greatly impact customers. And even the toughest spot was some people had reacted to the cyber attack, literally saying like, "Oh, they should have responded faster." And it turns out they did, but there wasn't anything that could be done. Um, the system got taken, and it got taken literally, just got taken. So can't Hey, what's up, baby Yoda? What's going on, man? Literally, there was nothing they could do. It was that was done deal. You know, all they could do was just try to figure out the best course of action, and they reacted in a way where it's like they weren't going to pay the ransom to have the cyber attackers decrypt their system and give access back to it. They weren't going to do that. They were just literally going to rebuild an entire system that governs Dish TV, Sling TV, Boost Infinite, Boost Mobile from the ground up. And a lot of people had to stay and work long hours. What's up, Michael? They had to stay and work long hours, and that sucks. I can only imagine. I can only imagine that like just being that employee and being told like, okay, this is what happened. You know, um, this is what we know so far, but everyone's gonna have to start putting in some major time in because we need to rebuild an entire system back up and running. Me, I don't know. I don't know where I would stand. Um, it would depend on how much I really liked my job. And like if I loved coding out an entire system, then it probably wouldn't have been no problem for me. But if I was like burnt out already with work, you know it would have been a problem. I don't know if I would generally have stayed. And I'm just being honest. I mean, you guys could tell me what you guys would have done in that situation if you came to work, find out the company's system had been completely hijacked, crypted, and everyone that turned on their computer to try to log into work obviously got that note that popped up on their screen that literally said, "Hey, you know, we have encrypted your entire system and gave you step by step instructions of where to go and follow the instructions and do not try to to attempt to contact the recovery team as they fail to do their work. The best that the recovery team could do for you is just negotiate with us which we're not going to negotiate the amount. We want this amount in order to, hand it back over to you. And it even said, descriptively in that note, that if you attempt to delete or rename the files, it will totally corrupt all the files they had, right? So Dish was like, okay, well, we don't have access. Get that group of people, get that team, get them on a 16 to 20-hour shift and get them cracking and building a system. So the entire time that people couldn't access Boost Infinite, people couldn't pay their bill, they couldn't get on and just, do anything, and they were complaining, no access, no customer care access, and all this stuff. That entire time they were down, it wasn't that they were figuring out what to do, is that they were literally building an entire system back up to be able to provide service to customers. That is crazy. That is insane, but crazy. I commend Boost Infinite, Boost Mobile, Dish Network. I commend them for doing that. And they had to do it with everybody's negativity. They had to do it with people already wanting to pour it out, people talking crap to anybody that would listen, right? I go live and there were people that would be here upset, frustrated. They were posting comments after the live stream later, but they're like superly frustrated and they're trash and all this other stuff. Like, they had to do it with everyone slamming pies in their face. So like I will give them recognition for doing that. Well, I think it was slightly a poor decision to remain shut on it, because obviously they had just made a decision to rebuild their entire system, so it wouldn't have been too important to focus on an investigation and try to find out who did it. They could have done that, but now we know that they were more focused. They were more focused on getting a system in place. And while I said some things yesterday, and I said it like, in the sense that maybe to learn from this lesson, maybe they're not going to go and have everything like on just one, like one system itself, but have the entire system for Dish like sectored off. So that way, if there's a breach in one sector, it can be isolated away from even, messing with the rest of the system that governs the other services. Like, I hope they learned their lesson, and that's how they rebuilt this back out. Hopefully they did that. They should rebuild the system to shut down and lock down anytime. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that that's what they did this time around, and that they didn't rebuild it the exact same way. Hope the hackers lost a ton of money. Corporate warfare could be. You never know. Like, again, it's not so far-fetched to say, like, if T-Mobile was threatened by Dish, you couldn't say T-Mobile would never do something like that. Like, they would never have somebody like a Black Ops type thing, right? Like, you go on the dark web, you find a group of cyber attackers, and you pay them to take out this company, and if the T-Mobile rep is found out, to be the one that hired them, that T-Mobile will deny all knowledge of what that person did, right? It's Black Ops, right? So you get caught, you're taking the fall, but if you're successful, well, then you're going to be paid handsomely. And what companies do this to each other. They will go like that. They will go that low to try and beat competition. Now, I'm not saying that T-Mobile did, so somebody don't run around and be like, yo, he said T-Mobile did it. No, I'm not saying that. But it is a possibility. It is a possibility. These companies are known to do stuff like that, and it's crazy. Comcast, Xfinity Mobile will block access anytime there's a glitch, technical difficulties. I mean, they say that. But let's put them to the test. Let's put them to the real test. I don't trust any company. Any company can blow smoke up my ass and say that we got the best cybersecurity. Your information is well protected. They can go through all the technical jargon they want to. I don't trust any company. Dish, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, Xfinity, Spectrum, Cox. No homo there. All that stuff. I will not trust any of them. Like 100%, not even 99%. Right? The amount of trust that these companies have with my information literally is like 15%. 15% is about the most that I'll give to any company like that. You see, because like, well, the whole thing with Dish happened. Everybody was focused on Dish because, of course, Dish was impacted the most, right? They had to rebuild an entire system from ground up in order to be able to give service to their customers. And luckily, for those that were on the wireless side, we weren't badly affected to the degree where our services shut off. Some were, and that's obviously because payment was due. So, like, they encrypted the system. The hijackers, when they took the system, they encrypted it. It didn't mean that they shut it down. So everything was still in place. That's obviously how our services were still maintaining and running while they were building something entirely new. Um, so for those people who were late on their bills, obviously got disconnected for non-payment. Of course, it wasn't their fault. They couldn't pay their bill because they couldn't get in to do it. Everything was down for access. So, when you think about that, they weren't the only ones, right? When we started hearing that, T-Mobile was hacked, or AT&T was hacked, Verizon was hacked. What did they get? Every mobile phone provider in the last month and a half, 2 months, has seen some sort of cyber attack done to them. So I don't trust none of them. Hey, what's up, Blaze? Going on? Yeah, I don't trust none of them. Honestly, I don't. So I will not, I will not tout cybersecurity for any one of these companies. I will not do that. Because, like, I get it. Michael, for you trust Xfinity to that degree. And so, like, to you, it makes you feel good that all these things they have in place for cybersecurity, you'll come up on to let everybody else know about it. They do this if something happens here, they do that, something happens here. But what happens if they get hacked tomorrow? What happens if there's a maestro smart enough to hack Xfinity and completely shut them down? This is the other reason why that I won't go in full mode and give 100% backing to any of these companies. Because if I was to sit here and say, Dish learn from their lessons, they'll never be hacked again, and then next week they get hacked again, I look like the fool for saying that. That's the other reason why that I don't put 100% stock in their cybersecurity. If they were a company that goes like 10 years, never ever actually being breached for any type of cyber attack that happens to them, then you got to give credit where credit is due. As of right now, none of these companies have my trust like that. I will not go and tell people where's the safest company to go to. None of them are safe. Every one of them is liable to have some sort of data breach. So for a lot of Boost Infinite customers, they got to be on the knowing of this. So it's known that Dish did not pay the ransom to get the system back. So if they never paid the ransom to get the system back, obviously that means that any data that was extracted during the cyber attack and the encryption of the system, any info that was extracted, obviously this group of people that did the breach are going to sell that information on the dark web. And if they sell that information on the dark web, then all those call centers that are like out in like India, Southeast Asia, the in Malaysia and all those places, they're going to get information that they're going to be able to use to try and pull more scams. Big shout out to my wife, because she shared a story with me, and I want to share the story with you guys because it was really awesome for her to do this. But this happened 2 days ago while she was at work. But elderly lady came into my wife's store, and she was trying to buy a bunch of those gift cards, and the customer service desk lady was like, she reported it to my wife because my wife was she was a manager on site at the time. So my wife, she listens to a lot of tech discussions that I have, and when I read things or when I watch things on YouTube, like, and I think it's interesting, I tell her about it because knowledge is power. What could help you. You just never know when it's going to help you, but it'll help you in the time you least expect it. And so, a while back, she watched a video with me that I thought was funny. It was Scammer Revolts, and she was watching him basically tour around with scammers on their phone and stuff like that. And then we watched another video by Kit Boga, who also does the same thing. So she was knowledgeable, like, in how these scams work. And so my wife was told that the old lady was trying to buy, like, I think it was like close to $5,000 in gift cards, Xbox cards, Google Play cards, and all that stuff. So my wife comes up to the old lady. She explains to her that they cannot sell her these things because the store policy is that if you suspect a customer is being scammed by a scammer, you have the right to refuse sales of gift cards and stuff like that. So then the old lady was like, she was okay about it. She wasn't mad at my wife, and she said she had to get a few things. So she walked around the store, got some groceries. Later on, she was coming up to check out, and they were short staffed at my wife's job. So my wife was on the register, helping to keep the lines down so the lines weren't so backed up. No, the elderly lady happened to be in my wife's line, and she gets up there, and she talks to my wife, and she tells her like, this guy won't leave me alone. He keeps calling, he keeps asking if I got the cards, I owe him money and all this other stuff. So my wife is like, oh, she's like, well, it sounds like that person is trying to scam you out of your money, because that's what these scammers usually do. And as my wife said that, the scammer called this old lady. And the old lady got frustrated. She's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. My wife's like, would you like me to talk to him? She's like, yeah. So she answered the call. She handed the phone to my wife, and my wife got on there. The guy was like, did you get the money? My wife responded to him. She was like, you're not getting any of this woman's money. Um, you know, I know what you're trying to do. And then the guy started yelling at my wife, talking about, no, I think he said he was the IRS, but she owes us a ton of money. So my wife asked for his name, and the guy said his name was Donald Trump. Went by the name Donald Trump, which was stupid. You're gonna use a high-profile name that's like half loved by the country, half hated by the country. Like, so, anyways, they went on back and forth for about a minute, and then my wife decided to tell him, like, look, she's like, understand this. I am the supervisor here at this store. I know exactly what you're doing, and we're not gonna sell these cards to this woman. And I've already alerted authorities. And as soon as she said that, he hung up the phone. And he did not attempt to call this lady back. Now, I don't know if he tried later on in the day, but he just hung up the phone. As soon as she clarified that she was a store supervisor and that she knows what he's doing and she's not going to let him do it, he hung up. The elderly lady, she thanked my wife. They had a conversation for a little bit longer. The other people online were so interested in what was going on. They didn't care that the line didn't move for 15 minutes. They sat around and listened as my wife conversed with her customer. And the customer was happy, and she was, it was a tearjerker moment. She cried a little bit. My wife, apologized for the type of language that she used, because my wife was pissed. She was pissed at the scammer and like how he tried to take advantage of this lady. And so she kind of used some colorful choice languages. But then everybody in the line, they were like, no, it's understandable. Like no one was gonna go and turn her in or complain to upper management that she used a few swear words in a conversation with a scammer, because they were all happy that she even went that. Like some grocery stores don't have the time to be able to go that far for a customer that they suspect is being scammed by somebody. They'll just go along with it and sell them the gift cards. And this is why we have so many victims in this country of scammers. um, my wife knew what to do, and so she went ahead and did that. And so the way that they get your information is on the dark web, and these hackers that go in and they breach systems and extract information, they sell that information on the dark web. So like, even if Dish was dumb enough to pay the ransom to get their system unencrypted, to get the encryption key from the hackers, the hackers had already probably, more than likely, extracted information, whether it was CPNI, whether it was customers' personal information. They've already extracted that. So even if Dish had paid the ransom, there's no honor among thieves. Can't expect the hackers to be like, okay, you paid the ransom. Here, we're going to give you the encryption key to decrypt your system. You'll have it back. You're not going to go and tell, Jeff over there, like, Jeff, go ahead and delete all those files, like, file burn them, get them off. They're going to keep that information because they're going to make money off Dish, give back the system to Dish, and all the information they extracted, they're going to go on the dark web and they're going to sell it. They're going to put it for sale. I've seen it with my own eyes. They would block I can see a lot of things. Okay, so just because you've seen with your own eyes that a system is protected doesn't mean it's impenetrable. Okay, I see government. The government has like some of the most insane firewalls ever, the most insane like security systems for their online data, and they themselves have been hacked. Don't go into this notion because you see like they have it sectioned off, so if one goes down, the other one goes down, that it's perfectly absolute and impregnable. If you have that mentality, you're setting yourself up for failure in anything, because if the government can get hacked, Xfinity does not have that type of cybersecurity as the U.S. military does. They don't. They're not going to get that unless the company that built the cybersecurity was what do you call it? I think it declassified is the word that they use, so they can go private and become a private entity rather than working for the U.S. government. I mean, if they can get hacked, Xfinity can get hacked. They're not bulletproof. Dude, I don't care what any politician does. Yeah, they keep paying. Hey, what's up, man? Long time. Yeah, man. Just chilling, just having a quick live, chit chat. Still fresh off the whole discovery of the note. Whoever took that picture of the note, obviously, I mean, I commend them because they wanted to get information now, and I understand why they didn't release that picture of the ransom note from the cyber attackers because everything was still fresh and being looked into. Like, Dish is back up and running, and this would also explain why every now and then the app services kind of goes down. But if you're rebuilding an entire system from scratch and laying it in there as to govern all your systems at this point, right? Some things are not going to be 100%. Some things are going to have some glitches, some bugs, right? And so they got to take things down to correct patching things and then put it back live again. So, because obviously they don't have the time to sit and make sure that all the bugs in their newest system that they coded is 100% perfect. They don't have time to do that. Remember, there were people whose phone lines were getting shut off for non-payment. They couldn't make a payment. You go to a Boost Mobile store, they couldn't take a payment because even their system was down. They couldn't do jack. So if you have no way of making a payment, obviously the system says you owe us money. You can't pay them even if you have the money. Your services was going to get suspended regardless, you know? So yeah, I commend them. I commend them. I do know that some people that left Boost Infinite went to T-Mobile. I mean, they are where they are, and hopefully that the services is great for them, and that that everything worked out. Other thing too was and shout out to those on the group page that was giving places that people can go that are about the same price, right? Because some people just went to Boost Infinite because it was $25. And where else could they go to get it for $25, right? So Visible, and I'm still gonna say this today, so those who didn't know will know. Visible has a promo that if you port your number in, you can get your plan at $25 instead of $30 on the Visible Basic. Mobile X has a $25 unlimited plan that's very similar to Boost Infinite. Metro by T-Mobile, I think, has like a port-in special where you can get a line for $25 as well. So there's options where you can go for the $25 price tag. Now, this greatly impacted Dish entirely, right? Their stocks dropped. It's at an all-time low. They don't have money. So it's going to be hard for them to continue to build out a network without the money to be able to do it. They got to try and raise some sort of capital to be able to continue the expansion of their network. They've lost a ton of customers, so that's money lost right there. They lost potential new customers because they weren't able to activate, and those people who are sitting waiting for activation since February 26th or whatever, once Boost Infinite was live, they actually didn't complete their activation. They canceled and ported. There's other people that got Boost Infinite as a second line. So they still have a different provider they're using as their primary service. And if that's the case, then they can go a month without paying a bill. Just, I won't pay it on time. I'll pay it later, So Dish is in some major financial struggles, and yeah, it's a strong possibility that that they would shut down. Bugs. I hate spring. Gotta remember, I enjoyed the winter months because there was no bugs, there was no flies, there was no mosquitoes, there was nothing out here. It was just clear air. Now that it's warmed up, we're back in the spring. Now they're all coming back, and they're all gonna bother me. I don't like T-Mobile. The coverage is terrible. It's not so bad here in my city. It's not. If the live stream is clear and everything, it's on T-Mobile. I'm using T-Mobile home internet. So they're not too bad here. It's just the only one that, I guess you could say is like kind of like a bad is like, and this impacts both Verizon and AT&T, but N77 connection here, it's like mediocre. Cause I see everybody else talking about I'm connected to N77 and they run a speed test and they're doing like freaking um 500, 600 megabits on the down and like 80 on the uplink, and like the most that I'm able to do on N77 here is like the highest I've seen that I've done was 400, but normally it's like 250 megs down and like 40 to 60 on the up. So they got some ground to cover over here in my city. Xfinity, Verizon is the best for the southwestern states. Folks still robbing Boost mobile stores. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're doing a lot of things. A lot of people are and that too, you're right. Stores are being hit in retaliation and being robbed. I mean, boost stores have always been targeted for robberies, but they're happening in droves now. Those people who are angry with them and upset, and I don't even know why people try. I really don't. Why you try to rob a Boost Mobile store and take the Boost phones? They catalog every phone that goes into the stores, right? I've seen. So there's a YouTuber that she's pretty cool. She's not a techie or anything like that, but she like vlogs about her day working in a Boost Mobile store. Like every vlog is about another day at work, what she does, right? And so like she's given an inside peek as to what they do. So like Boost will send her store a bunch of brand new iPhone 14s, right? The last video I saw, that's what she got, was iPhone 14s. And as it came in, she cut up the box open. She took the phones out of the box, and then had to do the inventory and scan every like barcode and serial number, right? Because on the boxes you'll see there's like 3 different codes, and you scan those. You scan one for basically to put in your inventory. You scan the other one for the serial number, and you scan the other one for the IMEI. And so it's logged into the system. So if you go into a Boost store, you break in, you steal all those phones. Like, yeah, you'll have a bunch of phones. One, you ain't gonna be able to activate them, because the moment that you break in the store and you steal all the phones and the owner comes, then everything that's taken, if all the phones are taken, what they immediately do is they pull the inventory list of every IMEI and they submit it to have all those IMEIs blacklisted, which means that you can go to any carrier you want. You can try to get it unlocked, go to any carrier you want. The IMEI is going to show up stolen, and you're gonna be able to activate the phone. You're gonna have to sell the phone overseas. But if you don't have a contact that can do that, if you don't have a contact that takes those phones and goes overseas and sells them, then you're just sitting on some nice paperweight. You could pretend you have a working iPhone 14 and hope that there's a lot of open Wi-Fi signals, so you have abilities to message and stuff like that or whatever. But that's all it's ever gonna be, is a Wi-Fi capable phone and nothing more. Boost is That's a funny thing. That's a funny thing. Funny you said that. Boost is nickname when you boost something, it's the nickname for thieving. So Boost Mobile just is a target for it. Yeah. Yeah, they're always get away from me. They're always a target of it. When I look up mobile shops being robbed, like the first freaking in the first set of 100 videos, like more than half of those videos are Boost Mobile stores. They're either Boost Mobile stores or they're authorized dealers, like a guy who owns his own store, and he sells Boost Mobile phones, Simple Mobile, and Track Phone and all that. Yeah. By the way, again, just to let y'all know, later on tonight, or in a little while, I plan to do some sort of WrestleMania predictions. So I intend to do that. Tomorrow, I'm hoping it still goes down. If for some reason it can't happen, then I'll do a watch party for WrestleMania tomorrow. But I'm sure Mike is going to be available for tomorrow for sure. I sent him a message and he hasn't gotten it yet. So I'm waiting to see when he responds back, when he wants to do a 1 hour live stream doing WrestleMania predictions. Because tomorrow is going to be an insane weekend and I'm ready for it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for it. I'll give you one prediction right now before I continue on with tech. Give you one prediction right now. I feel that what's his name? Rey Mysterio is going to lose to his son. I feel like Dominic Mysterio is going to win, and he's not going to win in a fair way. I feel like that there's so much heat behind the storyline with Dominic wanting to fight his dad at WrestleMania, and since Rey Mysterio is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I honestly feel like that Rey will lose, giving his son a very big win at WrestleMania, furthering the storyline just a little bit, where Rey can get a retaliation win over his son, and then it's going to possibly lead to a third and final match between father and son, where if Rey Mysterio loses, he has to retire, and I think that's Rey's way of retiring. Are the Solera phones that different? You mean like from the original to the 5G to the Plus? Yeah, yeah, they are different. They are way different. The only thing that the original Solera 5G and the Solera 5G Plus have in common is obviously the brand name of it and slightly the design. With the Solera 5G being the smaller body phone. Um, but as far as like performance behavior, battery, software optimization, photography, and videography, it is way different. Well, obviously, the Solera 5G Plus has a much bigger and newer camera sensors in it compared to the original Solera. Like if you look at them side by side, you'll tell the sensors on the Solera 5G, the original one, are much smaller. They're like probably like about a diameter size, like maybe smaller than that. Whereas on the Plus, they're like that. They're bigger, which is why it has a bigger camera sensor housing. Um, Fingerprint sensors in the same place with those. The processing chip is different. It's the MediaTek on the original Solero. The Solero Plus has the Snapdragon 695G, and there's a massive difference. So, like, when it comes down to comparing Qualcomm to MediaTek, Qualcomm every day. Qualcomm blows MediaTek chips out of the water and then also slams them against a bedrock just for good measure. That's how powerful a Qualcomm chip is compared to MediaTek. Now, the upper chips from MediaTek, right? So, like the flagship chips are good. I've messed around with a few phones that have the MediaTek chip, and they're good. Um, but for their chips they use in mid-range and budget phones are trash. They are hot garbage, and that's the reason why the experience is terrible on some phones. Um, yeah, so it is miles different. If you can snag the Solera 5G Plus for 150 bucks, it's definitely worth it. 199, yeah, it's okay. You're kind of pushing it there, but like 250 bucks, probably not. I wouldn't buy it at full price. I'd wait for it to go down in price. Okay. No, I didn't get any notifications right now. On this phone, I'm not going to get notifications on the stylus because I'm using it to live stream, so do not disturb is on. After this live stream, I'll shoot you a message as to I'll put it in your time zone time, so that way you know. But I'll put it into when I'm ready to do it. We can do it for like an hour. Things going on today, but I'm gonna squeeze in time to do it. So like for like an hour, we can go live on the channel. Just send me all the info to the Scorpion Deathlock podcast. So then that way I have it too. If I ever want to like just do a quick live on it, just to put content on there, I can do a live and talk about wrestling and whatnot. But I'll message you after I'm done with this live stream, and we'll make it happen, Captain. Bugs, hate bugs. So it's on sale right now. I believe the Solera 5G Plus is on sale. But that's a phone that I would even recommend BTech to pick up and try it out. Um, and you know, I don't know if Mike, if you got the original Solera 5G, but if you did and you used it and you didn't like it, the Plus model is way better. The regular Solero is $999. I wouldn't go for it just because again, it's very underperforming. Like when I used the Solera 5G, it was decent for like the type of usage that I do, right? But every now and then it would start to get sluggish. And I'm considered a light user. So if you're a heavy user on your smartphone, you're gonna get frustrated with it. is going to freeze quite a bit. Uh, um, who knows? Maybe they will. I mean, honestly, you know what? I'll email them today. The Blues partner, I will email them and let them know if they're looking for other reviewers to review the Solera 5G Plus. I'm going to give you a reference to them. Say, hey, you're on Team Pixel, so why not? So, let me send an email right now. I'm gonna send him an email right now to refer Mike. Boost partner. Why? Yeah, I do enjoy it. Thank you very much for sending the device out to me. And I'm not sure if you're looking for other content creators on YouTube to also review the Solera 5G Plus, but I do have a recommendation for a YouTuber, BTech Reviews, and I'm gonna paste in the link to his channel. I think you should definitely check his channel out. Uh, he's really good at giving a fair review on device products that he gets, and so I think he has a good following that can put the Solero in more eyes. Let me just fix some of the spelling here because Google did not figure out Solero as in Solero. And we go to YouTube and go to BTech Reviews channel so I can put the link to his channel in. Share. Copy link at Budget Tech Reviews. All right, Mike. Hopefully they reach out to you, man. There you have it, bro. I just sent them an email. So let's hope they get it, and let's hope they reach out to you. Be cool to see your thoughts and what you think of the Solera 5G Plus. It's a really good phone. Like, trust me. Like, I have a hard time keeping. Like, I thought having four active lines right now, I would be able to have all the phones that I want to use, and I do. But I'm always cycling because like I have both the Pixel 6 and Pixel 7 being in use. Then I have the Moto G Stylus in use right now, and then the Galaxy A53 in use. But then I also switch, because there's times where like I pick up the Solera 5G and I'm just like, I want to throw my SIM in here, and I throw my SIM in it. It is why I like every tweet I do, and I'm just like, I'm currently using the Solero and the G Stylus, and then the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 4, and then it's always cycling because I'm always looking at these phones like I want to use them. So I take them with me, I use them, I test them out to be able to answer questions that people may have, but I also use it for myself. The Solera 5G Plus is really good. I really like the phone. I really wish they made a smaller version because I have smaller hands, but it's still a good phone. It really is. Um, I'm not gonna make the mistake of letting one of my kids use it as a phone because they'll break it like they did the Solera 5G. Yeah, they're entertaining on their own too. Yeah, of course. Anytime that you have content creators collabing together, it's gonna make for a good experience. But I find their stuff just as entertaining as when they're on their own. It is Latrell's busy doing his thing and running his business and then doing his side hustle stuff. So we really don't get anything from him. When he does come on, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Latrell kind of has a little bit of a little bit of anger towards me because I'm always trolling him on Facebook. And that's just the way I am. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest with everybody, don't let me find out the one thing that like digs under your skin. Because if I find that one thing that digs under your skin, I'm gonna troll the shit out of you with it. And when he said that he hated Corollas, he don't like Toyotas and everything, that was just like window. So every time he posts something, I'm always messing with him. Even the last one that he posted something about someone ordering, I think it was like $70 worth of Taco Bell or some shit like that. And I like to joke around. Because today we have too much serious talk, too much political talk, too much, you know, like division talk. Like, why can't we just joke around and have fun? So I fuck with everybody that I know on social media. And yeah, so he posted that and I commented to it and I was fucking around. I was just like, why the hell are you showing everybody my order? You know, it wasn't my order at all. But I say some shit like that just to piss him off. Because like sometimes I don't think even he knows if I could take a joke. Because he'll joke back with me like, I'll post something like, he'll say something about the Honda, and then I'll just tell, I'll like troll him and be like, yeah, or like he'll be like, I just made it to Chicago, or I made it to Racine, and I'm like, yeah, the love of driving with your Corolla, and he'll comment back to me to shut the fuck up, and then all of a sudden I'll get another post that says, I'm just joking with you. I'm like, why do you have to explain that? I'm not gonna be like, yo, you mad? Like, I don't take text as fighting words. Like, I'll believe that you're mad at me if you call me on the phone and you start yelling at me and tell me to shut the fuck up. And then yeah, I can hear your voice. But like comments, I don't always react that way to comments unless you comment something that cannot be taken a different way. Like if you comment something and it's nothing but fighting words, like I'm gonna kick your ass, I can't take that as any other way than that. You know what I mean? And it's like more than just I'm gonna kick your ass. Because some people would be like, I'm gonna kick your ass, and that's a joke. But if you're like, get descriptive of how you're gonna kick my ass, then yeah, there's no other way to take that. He was live streaming earlier. Yeah. He has yet to really do so much that like I don't get notified when he does things. The only place I get notified is on Facebook when he posts something. Other than that, like I don't really see when he does his live streams and whatnot. Um, the same with like Magic Tech Review. I don't get notifications for his, but then again, I'm not gonna get notifications for Magic Tech Review just because when the whole thing with all that drama stuff, I just kind of like anyone that was talking to dude, I just kind of like put to the side because I did not want to deal with any more stuff. You know what I mean? So it's not like I have anything against the guy. I don't. But if he takes it that way, then I can't help how he feels. But I don't. It's just when you associate with people that's attacking my wife, attacking my kids, then you're pushed outside the ring. You know what I mean? He hasn't had a conversation like Mike has. Like VTech Reviews associates with that person too. But Mike and I had a conversation about it, and he already had stated that he gave me his word. It doesn't matter, he's keeping the peace on his end of his channel, but he's not gonna let anyone say some shit about me on his live stream, much less vice versa. Because I gave him that. Like I promised, regardless of who's on there, I'm not gonna argue with anybody. And yeah, and just just keep it respectful. But I never had that one-on-one talk with John, so right now he's outside. I mean, it's no sweat off his ball sack if he's outside my circle. I mean, we're not the best as a friends or close friends. I have a respect for him and what he does, and I felt like he also returned the same gesture, and that was pretty much it. Like I don't know dude like that. Like I don't know dude like to say like he's like a best friend or anything like that. I don't really know him. I just know that he covers tech and he's got a likable character, charisma to him, and he's funny at times, and he's a good dad, and that's all I know him for. How do I feel about Spectrum Mobile? Spectrum Mobile to me, I mean, what Spectrum Mobile operates on Verizon, so I mean, if Verizon's solid in your area, it's going to be good. Of course, there's going to be some type of limitations to it, just like any MVNO. There's going to be some type of limitations to it. There's no way in hell any MNO is going to allow an MVNO to outshine them. They'll never allow that. So, but I guess I don't know. I guess it's either decent. We don't have them here, at least not in my area to sign up service with them. So, I don't think because the internet companies they like to gridlock areas in my city. So like this side of town that I live on, you can't, if you wanted Cox Internet, you can't sign up for them. CenturyLink services this area, this grid, but like out on the east side, Cox Internet services out that area. They both share Scottsdale. I think Peoria is CenturyLink. Glendale is a combo mix, so it's like half of Glendale is CenturyLink, half is Cox Internet. But Cox and CenturyLink have monopoly here. So getting anything else is quite hard to do. This is the reason why that Google Fiber never came here. The saddest thing about Google Fiber and its conception was like certain cities got it, and like a lot of people are taking to YouTube. Like, what would Josh do? Like, he's another content creator I enjoy watching. I remember when he took to YouTube to show off Google Fiber internet and how his fiber was fast, and like Google Fiber has recently increased. So like before, they only had one plan. You paid that one plan, you got I think it was 1 gig down, 1 gig up as far as data speeds and very, very low latency. And then if you couldn't afford that, you can still get Google Fiber for free, but it would be I think it was 25 megabits per second down, 7 megabits per second uplink, and that was free. All you had to do was just pay for the installation, right? So they would come out, they would install the hookup. That's all you would pay, and then you would have free Wi-Fi in your home. Now they have a 1x1 gigabit per second plan and a 2x2 gigabit per second plan, and then the free plan still. But we were supposed to be one of the second wave of cities to get Google Fiber, but CenturyLink and Cox Internet blocked them from coming to Phoenix. Well, I want to say postpaid level service. I would say their priority access is on par with Verizon's postpaid customers, but I wouldn't say that they were postpaid level service. I've heard some horror stories about Xfinity and Spectrum, and but yeah. Anyways, so here they have Comcast, no, not Comcast. They have Cox Mobile. That's what they have out here. And if it's anything similar to Spectrum and Xfinity, then it's gonna be just like them. And people here they're okay with it. They like it. So that's what it is. I'm not gonna go into this stuff. Like, I go towards something that saves money. If y'all haven't not figured that out, the things that I use is a way that I save money, right? Being on Boost Infinite, $25 saves money. Having Boost Mobile prepaid $25 line saves money. Being on Mobile X Unlimited, 30 gig plan, $25 saves me money. The Boost Mobile prepaid plan that I got, the only reason why I'm keeping that line is because when Dish sent out the Solera 5G for me to review, they sent me a SIM card to activate it, and they sent me four top-up cards valued at $50, so that I would get either 4 months of service, but since the plan that I already had on Boost Mobile prepaid was $25, and the SIM card can just be moved over to the Solero, I put all that credit into that plan. So that Boost Mobile line is free for me until October this year. My EBB program, Boost Mobile T-Mobile Access line, it's still free until they decide to cut it off. Then I have Boost Infinite at $25 and Mobile X at $25. So I'm only paying $50 for 2 lines right now. And then my wife has the other Boost Infinite line. She pays $25 for her bill. So those are the phone lines that I have. I won't grab phone lines just to have phone lines. So that's how I look at it. Yeah. And I put the what do you call it? The credit onto that. It's still my line. My name is on it. That's why I call it my line. Who uses it in my family is who uses it in my family. But the phone line is mine. So, and it's free all the way until October. But I can tell you guys this much. It does slow down after 30 gigs. It really slows down after 30 gigs. My daughter burned 30 gigs on it already. Already. And it wasn't really her fault. It's not like she knew that she was off the Wi-Fi. but she wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi. When we went on the trip to the Grand Canyon and we came back, she didn't turn on her Wi-Fi signal, and then she takes her phone to school for emergencies. So when she gets off school and she gets on the school bus, they're allowed to be on their phones. So then she gets on the school bus and she calls me to let me know that her brother and sister is on the bus. So I know that they're all safely on the school bus. So I know that when they arrive and I pick them up, that all of them are safe and sound. Um, she did give me a heart attack one day though, and I'll share the story with you guys. So like the time to get out of school about because they get out a little bit earlier than the rest of the students because they have to take the school bus home. So they get out. I think it's like 15 minutes before the rest of the school does. And my daughter calls me and she's like partially like sobbing on the phone. And she's like, she can't find her little brother. She got on the bus and she didn't see him. And she's like, usually when I get on the bus, he smiles and sees me and screams my name. So I know he's there and I don't see him. And we're about to leave. And I'm like, okay, like look around, call his name some more. See if you can get up. And like, this is what pisses me off about the school bus driver. She tried to get up to look through each of the rows to see if she finds her brother. And the bus driver yelled at her to sit her ass down. So yeah, I had to have a conversation with the school about that. That pissed me off because she was looking for her brother. While she was looking for her brother, I had immediately contacted the school office and asked them, like, was my son late going to the school bus? Can someone contact, his teacher, find out if he made it to his school bus? Because the teacher walks him there. And they couldn't get a hold of the teacher because she was not in class. They were calling her classroom. They called Phoenix police just to give them a heads up that there's a missing child. They had an officer already en route to go to the school. And I switched back from the school because they put me on hold. They said it'd be about 5 minutes. I said, that's fine. I got to talk to my daughter. And then they said, oh, your daughter's on the phone. Does she see him? I said, I got to check in with her. I'll let you know. So I flipped back over to my daughter. And my daughter's like, we left. The bus driver pulled off. We left. My brother's by himself. And she's starting to freak out that, her little brother's going to be alone. She's thinking in her head that he's going to be crying all alone and scared. I'm like, calm down. Just calm down. I got this. We're handling this right now. I get back on the other line. I talk to them. They're like, okay, Phoenix PD just showed up. They're going to come in. They're going to give them, the photo that they have of my son because they have his photo for his school ID. They're going to give it to him. They're going to start letting him know. They got the teacher on the way to the office. And so, okay, I'm going to switch back, checking with my daughter. I checked back with my daughter, and she said she heard Rain. She screamed his name. He shouted back. He was on the bus. And he was on the bus. He was like the third row from the front of the bus. He seen her. He said he had called her name, but she was texting her friend, didn't hear him and walked past him. That she was more towards the middle of the bus. And so I was happy to know he was safe. And I got back on the other line and I told the lady in the office, I'm like, they found him. He was on the bus. He's short. You can't see his head from the back of the bus seat. But they found him. And I told him, I'm also upset because my daughter told the bus driver that her brother's missing and she would like to look to see if he was on the bus at all. And the driver told her to sit down, like to sit her ass down. I'm like, that bus driver, they got to be professional about things. They cannot talk to children that way, especially if a child is telling you that a sibling of theirs is missing. I think that should have been taken serious by the bus driver. Of course, I also think it's stupid that the buses don't have a list of students that ride them. Like when I was growing up and I took the school bus, my school bus had a list of every student that takes her bus. And as we come on, sometimes she'll do a roll call. As we get on, we tell her our name so she can check the list for that day that we were on. Usually when a parent calls and says, hey, my son or daughter is not going to make it to school today, the school would always ask, do they take the school bus to school? And the reason why is because they will radio to the bus driver to say, hey, this student is sick, is not coming on your bus. So later on in the afternoon, if the bus driver is checking the names of the students and one person's name is not checked off, they're not sitting there waiting for that student because it's been known that they called in, they're not going to school. I think these schools should do that. They don't. Students have to be at the bus at a specific time. The bus driver waits for 10 minutes for students to get on. After 10 minutes, whether you were finishing up a final project in class and now you got to run to your bus, if you're not there after that 10-minute wait, that bus takes off without you. So they have no idea if they've forgotten a student or if a student is missing. And to me, that makes it hard for them to locate a missing student, especially if you have no idea like where they were heading to. You have no idea if they made it to their bus. You had no idea if they got off at a different stop. I used to get on the school bus that went through my neighborhood. Sometimes I would go to my friend's house to play Super Nintendo. So instead of getting off at my bus stop, I would get off at their bus stop and walk to their house. But I would let the bus driver know, like, I'm getting off here And the bus driver already memorized us for us taking her bus every day, morning and afternoon. So she'll know, so she'll mark me that I got off the bus and where I got off. Like she only handled 15 stops. So if I got off at stop number 7, she would put, off stop 7. And then that way, if I was missing and they asked the bus driver, oh yeah, he was on the bus. I checked that he got on the bus after school that day, but he got off at stop number 7, which was on the corner of this street and this street. And then they know that I was there. And they can continue. They got to put better stuff in place. My kids are just like, yeah. Yeah, except that so my son's not a fighter. Like if you piss him off enough, like he'll fight. But like you have to like physically like hurt him in order to get him to fight you. My son is he always tries to solve things by like making people laugh. Like he would rather make you laugh, even if you're mad at him, get you to laugh so you calm down, than to fight you. And so right now, my son is not responsible to take his phone to school. Um, just because to avoid conflict and to him getting beat up wasn't worth a toy or anything like that. Like someone just took something from him and he just let him take it, which got me mad because I'm like, dude, like you have my permission to sock somebody if they hurt you. And he said, well, he didn't hurt me. He told me to give him, whatever the little toy was, like a $3 toy that he got from like, 5 and below when I went there to get a speaker for my daughter. And yeah, so he doesn't find value in phones like we do. A phone to him is just like where he can get on Minecraft so he can play with his sisters on that, or Five Nights at Freddy, or whatever the hell they play on their phones or whatever. They mostly game on their phones than actually message. So for him to take it to school, no. I was actually considering repurposing my Pebble Watch, but then it doesn't really have like you have to have some sort of connection to it in order for it to work. I hear that there's those kids smartwatches that have GPS or whatever. I was thinking about that, but then I'm also thinking about buying a couple of Amazfit fitness tracker watches that have GPS on them, um, and using that with the Zep app and being able to try and locate them. Something to that nature, but like a phone right now for him, no. He's not ready to take a phone with him to school. Then you have what else? But yeah, I think schools need to do a lot better job. A cheap flip phone would not be desirable to steal. Man, you need to come to my city. These kids, they'll take anything. You can have a little cheap flip phone. You can have a little cheap candy bar style phone. They'll take it. Well, a lot of these kids, like in the side of town that I live on, if for those who don't know, and like I'm not broadcasting it because I'm proud of it, but I don't live in the best neighborhoods with the best schools with the best people. Like in my area, you can tell that a lot of people go through tough times. There's a lot of people who, like they don't have a home. They're out here 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Some of them right out here in the alleyway, right here. Um, and I don't mess with them because I know they're just trying to have a safe place to be able to lay their head and sleep. I'm not gonna bother them. Like there's a dude that like stays under the carport on the next apartment complex over, and he's like laying on the sidewalk ground with a blanket over him sleeping. I'm not gonna call any authorities to come mess with him. As long as they don't mess with my property, my cars, my backyard, or anything, I won't mess with them. I'll leave them alone. They can chill there, sleep there. Um, if they get lucky and get like a 30 pack of beer, as long as they ain't shouting or trying to pick fights with people, if they're just there chugging down beers, just trying to, get through another day, enjoy your day. I'm not gonna bug you. But yeah, my area is not the best area, and the people that live in it they're not on the greatest times. So yeah, Boost Mobile Australia, Think Mobile Tech, aka Zach, formerly Technohead HD. Yeah, I think the thing is so like for me, I have to balance until my son can fully understand when is it time to fight and when is it time not to fight, because he has the same anger as me. He can go from 0 to 1,000 in a second, and like I know me when I get angry and especially like in a fight. In a fight, if I was like to set up a one-on-one fight with a dude that, basically crossed the line with me, and if he agreed, like we go one-on-one, when I go out to meet him, I'm not coming alone. But it's not because I plan to jump him. It's because that once I start fighting, if I overpower you in the first 10 seconds of that fight and I get the best of you, I'm not gonna stop. Someone has to be there to pull me off because I won't. I'm relentless like that. I have anger issues. And my son is showing signs of it too at his age. And so I don't want him to think that every situation calls for him to fight because I don't think anyone there knows that if he does it and if he's a lot like me, it's going to take people to pull him off somebody before he really does some damage. That's what I worry about. So today in my city, schools won't do much about, school bullying, but if there's like a physical altercation, the one who loses, the schools will side with them in helping the parents sue the parents of the aggressor who, well, not the aggressor but of the victor, right? So if my son actually beat somebody who was bullying him, the bully's family would be able to sue me in court. And I'm trying to avoid stuff like that. That's cool. Those people that I'm talking about, they're not on the complex. There's an alleyway behind this wall, right? Garbage trucks go up and down these alleyways because this is where the main dumpsters are away from the main roads. They don't put the dumpsters or garbage cans on the main roads for dump trucks to pick them up. They're back here in the alleyway, and there's people that go back here. There's not part of the apartment complex. Really have no say to tell them to get off the property. They're not on the property. I mean, but I don't mess with them because some people that are afraid of them will call the cops and say there's people hanging out in the dark spot area. Send a cop there to do a welfare check. I won't even do that. As long as they don't mess with me, I won't mess with them. But the landlord has no authority over that alley space. That's public city property. They can be there if they want to, kind of. Um, but yeah, like this city has really gone down in the last 3 years, and I'm not gonna go into it because it's all political reasonings why it did, but it went down really bad. So we have a lot of drug use in public again. Again, I'd say again because it was like that in 2020. It kind of died down a little bit, and it started coming a rise, and now it's like full blown. End of 2022 into 2023, it got really bad. Um, yeah. So I'll put it this way: I wouldn't. My son works at a grocery chain. This is his second job. His first job was working at a trampoline park down the road from here. But they weren't giving him enough hours. He wanted more hours, wanted to make more money, so he got a different job where he's a courtesy clerk, bags people's groceries, and grabs all the carts in the parking lot. This neighborhood is so bad that even though he's almost close to the age of 18, when he works to close, which is 10 o'clock at night, um, I don't like him walking home from the train station. So he has to carry his skateboard with him so he can ride a skateboard and get home faster. If he has to take the train home, one of the supervisors at his jobs is good friends with my wife. So sometimes when she's working and she closes, she'll drive him home. Normally, he'll just hang out in the grocery store with the night stalkers that stalk the groceries at night. Until my wife gets to him, she gets off at 10, so she'll be over by his job by 10:30 and pick him up, and then they'll come home together. I don't like him really like wandering home on his own just because there's too much. Like the train station, that's like 2 blocks, so it's about like a 20 minute walk from here. That train station full of a lot of people that's like drunk, a lot of drunks, a lot of people like tripping on peyote and everything like that. It's bad. Or like I don't know their terminologies here. I hear them call it G. I'm thinking that G is short for glass. Glass is ice or whatever it is. But or they're high on that. They're tweaking off that. Um, it is bad. And then of course we have like really bad problems with fentanyl. Lunatics. Yeah, we have a bad thing with fentanyl. Like I think in the last 6 months, 5 people have been busted with a huge amount of fentanyl, and yeah, they're gonna do some major time. But we've had a lot of deaths because of fentanyl. A little bit after Halloween, I would say maybe about like 15 kids passed because somebody put fentanyl in candy and they ate it. Yeah, this is bad. Anyways, guys, I am going to hele mai out of here, which is like, our Hawaiian slang that I'm going to dip out. Already been an hour. I'm going to message Mike here in a little while, set up to do the WrestleMania predictions live stream later on tonight. So get with Mike on the link to the channel. That way you guys won't miss it. And yeah, I got to go and help my wife with some things on her day off. I appreciate you guys coming here and hanging out. Thanks so much for chilling with me on this little chat. It feels like a Saturday, even though it's Friday. Yeah, enjoy your weekend. And anyone that's watched John Wick 4, don't ruin it for me. Peace.